Our DNA, it's basically the instruction manual for what makes you, you. And for all we've learned about it, it really feels like we're still just on page 1. There are so many secrets to our health locked away inside, and honestly, we've barely even scratched the surface.
It's a huge question, right? I mean, with all of our amazing technology, why are so many diseases still so hard to predict or treat or prevent? Well, a huge part of the answer is actually pretty simple. For a long time, we've just been looking in the most obvious places, while the real story was hidden somewhere else entirely.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with a number that completely changes the game. Are you ready for this? A staggering 97% of all the genetic variations found in our DNA are considered rare. That means they show up in less than 1% of the population. We're not talking about common stuff like eye color. We're talking about the super unique individual quirks in our code.
I want you to think of our entire genome as a giant iceberg. For decades, scientists have been studying the very tip of that iceberg. The common variations that are easy to see above the water. But that massive, hidden part underneath, that's where all the rare variations are. And that is where the biggest secrets to our health have been hiding all along.
So how in the world do you explore that hidden territory? Well, you launch one of the most ambitious scientific missions ever, a massive project designed to map this totally uncharted genetic world.
It's called the TOPMed program, and its goal is just immense, to sequence the entire genomes of tens of thousands of people, to create this incredibly high-resolution map of our genetic code. They're focusing on some of the big ones, diseases of the heart, lungs, blood, and sleep. And this isn't just about discovery for discovery's sake. It's about building the foundation for a whole new era of personalized medicine.
To really get a sense of the epic scale here, let's just start with a number of people. Researchers did whole genome sequencing on 53,831 individuals, and critically, they came from incredibly diverse backgrounds. So this isn't just some blurry snapshot. It's a rich, detailed portrait of human genetic diversity.
So what did they find in all those genomes? Over 410 million unique genetic variants. Just let that sink in for a second. That works out to one new genetic variant for about every 7 letters of our DNA code. It is an absolutely mind-boggling amount of information that, until now, was completely invisible to us.
But here's the part that is just wow, the most stunning discovery of all. Of those 410 million variants, nearly half, 46%, were what they call singletons. This means they were found in only one single person in the entire study of over 53,000 people. So think about what that means. Our genetic code is defined more by our radical, individual uniqueness than by what we have in common. And this chart really brings that genetic iceberg concept to life. See that tiny sliver up top? Those are the common variants we've been focused on for years. But then, look at the massive area at the bottom. That's the world of rare variation that TOPMed has finally mapped. It just brilliantly shows that the real action, the bulk of our genetic story, is in these rare, often totally personal mutations.
But this map isn't just about medicine. It also happens to be the most detailed atlas of human history ever created. It tells us a much deeper story about who we are and where we all come from.
Just take a look at this incredible visualization. It's a genetic map showing the relationships between all the different groups in the study. All those red links connecting them show where rare genetic variants are shared between people. You can immediately see the huge genetic diversity within African ancestry groups, which makes sense. It reflects humanity's origins. But now look over to the right, at that tight cluster of blue links. That represents the Amish population, and it shows a classic founder effect, where a small, isolated group gets a really unique genetic signature. It's like a high-resolution family tree for our entire species.
And this data, it backs up theories we've had for a long time, but with just incredible precision. The quote here mentions heterozygosity. That's just a scientific way of saying genetic diversity. It confirms that the greatest amount of variation is found in populations of African descent. And as humans migrated out of Africa, a tiny bit of that diversity was lost with each new population that branched off. This lets us see that ancient story literally written in our DNA today.
Okay, so we have this incredible map. So what? What do we do with it? This is where TOPMed goes from being just a bunch of data to a revolutionary toolkit for scientists everywhere.
It's brilliant, really. Any researcher can take their own, maybe lower-resolution genetic data and upload it. The TOPMed server then acts like a kind of genetic spell checker, comparing their data against its massive, high-def library. It intelligently fills in the blanks, basically upgrading a blurry photo into a crystal-clear 4K image.
It reveals all these rare variants the researcher never could have seen before.
And the difference it makes is just staggering. Look at this. This chart shows the accuracy of finding rare variants in people of African ancestry. With the old tools, the accuracy score was, well, it was a dismal 0.17. With the new TOPMed panel, it skyrockets to 0.96. That is a monumental leap forward, making genetic research so much more powerful and, critically, so much more equitable for populations that have been underrepresented in the past.
And this isn't just theory. Researchers are already using this tool to make amazing discoveries. They've used it to pinpoint rare variants linked to breast cancer in famous genes like BRCA2. They've found new genetic connections to glaucoma, to kidney disease, to inherited blindness. These are real-world breakthroughs that honestly would not have been possible without this new toolkit.
So, all of this brings us to the future, because TOPMed isn't the end of the story. Not even close. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter in medicine. What TOPMed has really done is lay the foundation. It's given us the most detailed genetic map in human history, which now lets scientists ask bigger, bolder questions than ever before. It has taken the dream of precision medicine, where treatments are tailored to your unique genetic code, and brought it a giant leap closer to being our everyday reality. So, the map of that genetic iceberg is finally in our hands. We can see into the hidden depth for the very first time. The question is no longer what is down there. The question now is, what are we going to do with this incredible new knowledge? Where will this map lead us next?